we're just watching you do your clamping or crimping, sorry, and you're using the ones with the blue handles. You've got a couple there, actually 3 types there.
Yep.
Can you sort of explain to us what the differences are and why you're using those blue ones specifically?
Okay, so I'll explain the 3 different types. So on these you've got the yellow, red and blue, and all they do is when you close up, it just squashes the crimp, which is okay for some of the insulated lugs that you get, red, yellow and blue, but we find that they will pull out over time anyway. As the copper sort of squishes and takes up all the gaps, it'll slip out most of the time. So that's why we use these type, and we use these for both insulated and uninsulated now, and that's because they do a center punch. So you see the circle gets center punched with that piece, and what that does is not only does it put a center punch in the copper to give it more grip, it also compresses down enough to create a cold weld in the copper, which gives you much less resistance. So a better crimp, less resistance, and it's less chance of it ever slipping out. Then we use these for large, so we go up to 16 lugs. So 16 down to 10, down to 8, down to 6, and then anything smaller than that is where we go into these. And they just, when you crimp them, I'll show you a crimp. So you put your copper in and always try and match it as best to the size of the copper as possible. Sometimes you might have to take off a couple of hairs and really squeeze it in. It's the best fit is always going to be the best finish. And then you take your crimp, you get it to the appropriate size. So see how that just fits in that semicircle. And then we close it up. And you use the ratcheting ones because they help you to be able to give the pressure. Keep pushing and it keeps locking, right? And then what you have is that, see that center punch, but also the other side of that, the other semicircle, you'll have a full cold weld in there. So we've done it before where we've tested it. You cut it open and you cut the copper, and that little semicircle part there won't fall apart. It'll be cold welded copper stuck together. So that's the best crimp and gives you the least resistance. And then of course you've got to cover it. So you just choose a heat shrink.
Cool, no worries. So that's the 3 different types. So
those ones
there.
Those ones, and those.
So yeah, 3 different purposes, and great explanation as to why. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, guys.